On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1987. We're going to be taking a look at del.Shannon, and he's going to be performing Runaway. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, this request was made in reference to Del's voice and how it was holding up over 25 years after the initial release of this song, which was in 1961. So we'll get Del and the band up on screen and see how he gets on.
Singing Runaway with Paul and the band, please welcome del.Shannon.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, but that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of things we've done together while our hearts were young. Am I walking in the rain? Tears are falling and I feel the pain. Wishing you were here by me to end this misery. I wonder, why she ran away, and I wonder where you're gonna stay. Yeah, little runaway, run, 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 run. Work it out, Paul. 1, 2. I'm walking in the rain. Tears are falling and I feel the pain. Wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, girl, why she ran away. And I wonder where you're gonna stay. Yeah, my little runaway. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away.
Yes, sir! Very nice. Nice job, nice job.
And there we have it. I mean, what a great live performance of the song, considering that it is so much later. I think the request was really asking about Del's range, but that note that he hits, or at least those descending notes that he hits in the chorus, which are what sounds like a reinforced falsetto sound, but there could be an argument made for being head voice potentially in that register of Del's. But it's great because this is the same key as the original in 1961. That is something that can sometimes change as a singer ages. They might lose a little bit of their range. When I talk about the voice changing with age, it really depends on which vocal register you're using. For example, if Del was hitting these notes in chest voice, then he would probably be straining in order to get his chest voice that high, because I believe we've got a C#5 in here as our top note that he's hitting in this, what I'm going to call a reinforced falsetto register. I have isolated the vocal, run it through the pitch monitoring software so that we can see the notes that are going on, but also just Del's accuracy vocally. I mean, he is just so accurate all the time, and that's something you'll notice when we're looking at these lines which just represent Del's voice. But let's have a listen. You can hear how once he's gone through and yes, it was a C sharp 5. So, you know, we're above male tenor high C, but of course that male tenor high C would be in chest voice for classical singers. But here, he's getting into this really clean sound, and the way that he does it, it looks so relaxed. And when I'm talking about different vocal registers and chest voice, for example, back in, you know, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, you had singers who might be hitting really high notes, but it's all about how they're hitting them. What I mean by that is, if you're taking your chest voice up really high, you know, to the top end of the male tenor range and countertenor range, it means that you're going to be really pushing your voice to get there. And this is something that if you do it time after time, night after night, it's going to negatively affect your vocal cords. And this is where you get vocal fatigue, and then you might get nodules and all those kinds of things. And a lot of singers have fallen into that trap of recording a song in the studio where they're really belting at the top end of their chest voice, and then the album does really well and the single does really well, so they have to perform it night after night, and then hitting those same notes that same way is nigh on impossible. So when we're talking about this song, Del is accessing these notes in what it seems like is falsetto, and then reinforcing it to add a little bit of compression, take out that airy sound. It just looks like that, the way that he's accessing them, because he's just so relaxed. Let's have a look again. And you can hear that it's quite a dramatic duh, duh, when he goes into that after that. And I can't believe I'm going to attempt this, but I'm going to attempt for a that kind of really clean head voice is what I'm going to use to try and access it. Going duh, and he kind of then gets into that rather than duh. See, I'm trying to figure out what he's doing by using my voice, but my voice doesn't do the same thing. In order to get these notes, I'm getting them in a head voice sound. I can't do falsetto, so this is the way that I kind of navigate around the whole falsetto thing. Doing it in that falsetto register, or even in a head voice register, maintaining that is going to be easier because he's not putting loads of rasp in the sound and all that kind of thing. It's going to be easier with age, but it's by no means a given that you're going to be able to do this for your whole career. So let's jump into our time machine back to 1961 to have a listen to the original. I have got the guitar out, not that I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the guitar, because I just want to point out, you know, the chords and how simple this song is, how short it is, but how there's so much in there. When you listen to the drums as well, that snare, the fact that we've got those two snares coming in on 2 and, we're kind of going 1, 2 and, you know, and then we've got the 4, so it's going 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4. You know, it's just giving it that slightly different groove, and by having those two snares in there back to back, it means that you're almost getting a floating sound, or at least you're not finishing. The snare's not over where it usually is. It's just continuing on. It's just pushing you forward for that obviously half a beat longer, but it has such a dramatic effect. We won't get into the drums. We're going to get into the guitar, because we've got the A minor and G, F, and E, kind of like that. And to get the emphasis, we've kind of got this. Kind of like that. Now, the great thing is that when we get into this pre-chorus, we're now going to an A major chord rather than the A minor. It's great, the difference in feel that we get from the verse to then the pre-chorus and chorus, because we're starting on that minor chord and going na 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 na. We're going down na 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 na. we're going down with the chords vocally, the melody. So it's great because you just pair those two things together, and as soon as we go na 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 na, we're now in the major key, so it means we're in the major scale. It's going to be happy, it's going to sound more uplifting, and that'll go through to the chorus as well. So really simple, but it's a great example of a song that shows you the different sound between starting with a minor chord and then starting with a major chord, because you instantly feel that lift when you go to that major. Anyway, we will push on with listening to the original back in 1961.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, a love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together, while our hearts were young.
And I mean, one thing just about the video that accompanies this song, or this particular video, you can see the way that Del is kind of moving around when he should kind of go down. Yeah, he's kind of going to the wrong places, but it doesn't matter because it's just kind of playback over the top. I mean, it's a good example actually of musicians who do actually play and do actually sing. Having to pretend to play and sing is really difficult because you're so used to playing and singing. When you're then not allowed to play, and say for example the guitar's not plugged in or something so you can't hear it, you will also hear how this sounds slightly sharp, which, I mean, we know from, you know, Del, but just the song, that it was in A minor. So it's not the fact that it was recorded in a higher key or anything, it's just the tape would have been running a little bit faster than was recorded in the studio when they recorded it in A minor. Slightly speeded up tape here, and you can see from like the A3 that we're pretty much, what, 50 cents sharp.
My little runaway, run, 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 run away.
And just a mention of this solo because, again, it's a great element to have in there because there's personality in here. We're not just playing straight notes. Just to give a quick example of what I'm talking about, on the A minor, we haven't got just straight notes. On that A, we're going down to the A flat, so we're going kind of like that, and it's just an arpeggio of the chord, but it sounds really cool throwing in that A flat. And this is the thing, that once you spend enough time on notes of your key, you know, here we've just got notes from our A minor chord, that's why it's an arpeggio, but going down to that A flat, that shouldn't really be in there. So that's why it gives it that quirky sound, is because if we're going, if you try to play a solo staying on that A flat, it's never going to work. But this is why, by pedaling back to the A, it makes sense of it, but still makes it sound a little bit quirky. As we then move down, and again, just arpeggios of the chord. You know, and it's just that same theme running down. The other thing that we get from Del is the different expression from the verse, then into the pre-chorus, when we're listening to the tone of his voice and that extra little bit of grit and rasp that he puts into his sound after the verse. Let's have a listen.
And as I still walk on, I think of...
I mean, listen to the clarity there. Na 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 na. You know, it's still relatively light as a clean vocal chord connection, but again, it's more of a reflective kind of delivery because we're starting with that minor chord. He's singing with the same kind of feel that you're expecting.
The things we've done together, while our hearts were young. I'm a walking in the rain. Tears are falling and I feel a pain.
So now, again, we've got this contrast of changing to an uplifting sound now because of the major chord that we started on, the A major, but the lyrical content is now sad and he's now leaning into it. So we've got that attitude of na 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 na. You know, he's kind of putting a little bit of rasp in there, and it's probably even more exaggerated because of the fact we've come from that clean sound. And just to highlight this sound that we're going from where he gets up to his C-sharp 5 and how he descends through it, the accuracy of the notes as well. Listen out for those.
To end this misery, I wonder, I wonder why she ran away, and I wonder.
I mean, it is so spot on, that rundown. What intrigues me is this first part on the original record where he's almost got more of a blend in there.
I wonder.
Because he's going, wonder, wonder. And normally if that was falsetto, there would be a flip. You wouldn't be able to go, nah. You wouldn't be able to blend that together. So again, this is why it is so difficult, because it is possible that he's gone from that reinforced falsetto sound into then what would be kind of chest voice, but probably just a little bit of a light, heady mix is what it sounds more like. But going down into that sound, let's have a listen to the second part.
Why she ran away.
And then we've got a cut-off, but still the balance in the sound is there. So, yeah, it's really interesting to have a listen to, because now I'm starting to think, well, going by the original, maybe this was his head voice and he's just doing what I'm doing. Maybe we're just doing exactly the same thing. This is the problem when you're looking at great singers. Their ability to hit these notes in different vocal registers, sometimes a reinforced falsetto can sound like a head voice and vice versa. So the reason that I think maybe this is head voice is because of the original, but then looking at the ease at which he does this, it makes me think that it's more of a falsetto thing, where he just kind of lets his voice go up there and there's no tension at all. It is possible to do that with head voice, so he might just have perfect technique in all of his vocal registers, which, yeah, wouldn't surprise me at all. But great to have a look at Del, and yeah, 1987, like I said, so long after that original release, and sadly just a few years before he died, but he really shows that his voice just had this quality in it, that he could just access these notes in this really clean, bright sound with minimal strain and minimal effort. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, and thank you guys for requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. Keep those coming in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!